In the nick of time, I am live. Here we go. Almost got on at 8:01. It was a scramble over here. I don't know why. It was just moving slow. Well, I usually set an alarm for 7:40 to start setting everything up, but I waited until 7:45. Maybe that was why. Maybe I got cocky with my setup timing. I was watching The Office. What are you going to do? Just checking the audio here. Looks like we're good. How do I close this? There it is. There we go. Yes, indeed. It's Friday night. I'm streaming live from the basement. Some administrative things to go over before we really get rolling. Obviously, I was off last week because I was on vacay. Hell yeah. I love a little summer vacay. Next week will most likely be a pre-record. I think I'm going to meet an old coworker in the city for a couple of summertime beverages on Friday. So I will likely be pre-recording that one, and then rest of the month into early July, it'll be kind of here and there. I am moving the first week of the 1st of July, into a different unit in this building. So I don't know how much different the setup behind me will change, but we are coming upon the final episodes in this setup. I should do, before I pack everything up and take it upstairs, some sort of like walk through the entire unit, because the rest of it never got shown off, and it's a very for a studio apartment, it's pretty fun setup. Got the weight room over here, got the hangout section, the bar, tiny little kitchen, the shitter, the bed where, oh, God knows how many unspeakable things have taken place. So that's that. I'll be moving into a much more spacious abode. Probably, I would imagine this will be the last place I live in North Jersey before heading down to the shore. I was just gonna stay here, and then head down to the shore in like a year or so. But my landlord had to do some maneuvering of units, and I'm gonna have a chance to live in a much bigger one while I finish paying off my vehicle, and then saving a couple bucks to get down by the ocean, motherfuckers. Cake by the ocean. That song was about sex. Anyway, please follow and share Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. The YouTube channel, of course, is at Mike's Golden Streams, or just search for Sacktap Live. Tell people to look for Sacktap Live on YouTube. Tell them to join us here live. We'll have a great time. And if you would be so kind, if you're listening to the podcast, watching the stream, whatever, take a little screenshot or share it, post it on your socials, and tell people to come check it out. That is about the extent of the effort I'm putting into marketing the show at the moment. But would be much appreciated if you did. Howdy to the boys in the comment section. Cowster, Brian Brashears, finally making it to a live show. Welcome aboard, Brian. Good to have you here. Good to see you folks out in the comment section. It was D-Day this week. I've been reading reminiscences from guys who were in the invasion, which, it's amazing. If you ride in an AAV, an amphibious assault vehicle, today in the modern military, it's no picnic. Like, it sucks. Like, they go down during training all the time, and just, a dozen guys will fucking drown in one. Like, it's not a fun thing to do. And I mean, there are guys whose entire occupational specialty is operating Amtraks and fucking assaulting from Amtraks. It's, I mean, that is the mission of the Marine Corps, of course, amphibious assaults. And they did an excellent job of that during the island hopping campaign in World War II. But the Army also, conducting a massive amphibious assault on D-Day. And I'm fascinated by this. A couple of years ago, I read about the battle for Okinawa, and I read about the Marines at in France at Bellawood, charging across the wheat field, crawling on their bellies across the wheat field under fucking grazing fire, which also no picnic. But I'm always the idea of the guys in the, I think they were called Higgins boats or whatever they called the fucking landing crafts at D-Day. I think they were Higgins boats. The idea of that, because they didn't it's not like the fucking boats got them right up on the water. Like, the boats were only going to get so far. The water was mined. There was machine gun fire and indirect fire coming down, and there were all sorts of obstacles. So the boats were only going to get them so far. I think they had, like, most of them got dropped with about 30 yards to go. And if you spend a lot of time in the ocean, you get about 30 yards out. You're starting to get into, like, it could be 4 or 5 feet deep, the water. So all your gear with all that fire coming at you, and now you have to swim through that water and then you have to get to the point in the water where it's like, whatever, it's 3 feet deep, so you can kind of run through it. But you're doing that with fucking boots on, and you're wet and heavy, and you're just getting fucking shot at. Like, it's such an incredible feat to think of. And I first started thinking of that when I was reading about Okinawa and Bellawood. And you're like, now the way we fight warfare, like, America tends to fight much more like blitz style warfare now, where we're just going to blow through the area, hit the main objective, and then, sort of conduct patrol operations to the rear to clean up the mess. Back in the day, it was much more kind of a battle of attrition versus a battle of speed. And a lot of times, like in the island hopping campaign, the Japanese allowed them to land and then lured them into the island, and they would have to go up like escarpments and cliffs and shit, just like one at a time, like fucking ants climbing up. And they'd have to, pop a grenade into the bunker, let it go up. It was just a fucking this slow moving battle of fucking attrition in horrific, horrendous conditions. And the stories of just body parts flying all over the fucking place. So I've been reading these little interviews with guys, and like it's things you don't think of. This guy's saying, we had a hard time getting into the boat in the first place. It was bouncing around, waves blowing over the side. Wasn't long before all of us aboard that little boat were seasick. So this is before, like, if you've never done anything in the military, it's almost hard to understand this. It's like when you watch like a war movie or you see footage of the military on the news, it's usually like action shots and shit. Sometimes you don't think of like the very little mundane struggles that exist, and like this is just trying to get the fucking boats that you're going to use to go into this meat grinder ready and get assembled in them. It takes this gargantuan effort, and now guys are seasick and puking all over the place, and now you're already nervous to go fight, and now you're puking all over the fucking place, and you're riding into combat in a fucking a little tin can full of vomit and fear. He's talking about guys crying after they got off the boats, guys throwing up. Yeah, I mean, they were they were wading through neck deep water and getting hit with machine gun fire, because it's not like the round goes into the water and then just stops. It slows it down a little bit. But if a fucking machine gun hits you from relatively close range, because right, the Germans are defending the cliffs, the Americans are attacking the beach below them. That's for machine guns can range out thousands of fucking meters. So if they're hitting you with machine gun fire from 200, 300 yards away, that shit's not losing a lot of velocity when it hits the water. There are guys. There's one guy I was reading. He was in. They in addition to the beach landing, there was also a huge air assault, and they were dropping paratroopers down behind the German positions. And they were talking about what it was like flying into that, because there was just anti-aircraft fire going off like fucking crazy. And one guy says they stood up so that they could start walking towards the exit of the plane to jump out. And literally, as he stood up, a round ripped through the bottom of the plane and flew through the seat that he was sitting in. So there's this sacred geometry of chance, right? Because you're jumping out of a fucking plane, and you got the wind to account for. You kind of have an idea of what's underneath you. It's wheat fields or whatever, but they flooded them, and there are these hedgerows and shit all around. And guys are just trying to link up in groups, and it's pitch fucking black. It's bad as fuck. They all painted their faces with charcoal, which these days, could you imagine if the pictures got out these days of our boys overseas wearing our American uniform in blackface? People would be furious. I was just thinking about, like, they would call that blackface. But yeah, just this incredible, so different from war today, where it's a professional military. Not that these guys didn't, obviously they comported themselves like incredible professionals, and they did a great job, but it's not like it was a draft military and it was just guys kind of signing up to go fight. It wasn't like now where people sign up for, it's like a career and shit, and you pick an occupational specialty as long as the recruiter doesn't fuck you, and you go into it with more, I guess, intent than someone who was maybe like, the one guy was a real estate clerk, and all of a sudden he's leading a fucking charge on a farmhouse that some Germans had occupied, and he talks about killing one with the butt end of his rifle. And I think he knocked him out with the butt end of his rifle, and then he stabbed him because he didn't want anyone inside the house to hear him, because the guy had come out to inspect. So just incredible fucking stuff. And you compare it to, it's so, like, comparing it to the generation that you see out there today in the Queers for Palestine t-shirt. It's tough. Society is headed in a difficult direction. Caster, I love a little fucking hardcore history. I will have to check that out. He does. I'm into, like, antiquity, like the real old shit. So he does some great stuff on, like, the Persian Empire and the ancient Greeks. Carlin rules. Yeah, Alexander Ponce. The mixed squads was something I hadn't even really considered. I didn't watch. I watched, like, bits and pieces of Band of Brothers, and fucking what was the other one? What's the movie? The Tom Hanks one. He's fucking, that guy's obsessed with World War II. I've only seen bits and pieces of those. because they didn't involve the Marine Corps. I was never overly interested. I guess I should watch them all the way through. But the mixed squads thing was fascinating, where it's just guys, you hear a voice. They had these little clickers that they would use to make noise after they landed, and link up in the darkness so that they wouldn't have to shout. But there were the fucking areas crawling. Germans are patrolling all over the place. So it's like as soon as you land, you have to orient. You've just jumped out of a fucking. The fact that you've survived the flight in, and you made the jump and you landed. The hard part has not even fucking begun. Now you're behind enemy lines. There's Germans all over the place. You have only a sort of cursory knowledge of the terrain, and you got to try to link up with the good guys and not get caught by the bad guys. It's fascinating. Nighttime Conqueror. Your grandfather's war stories were never very good. That's my. I had two grandfathers serve in the military. One of them, his stories were all about going to Puerto Rico and warding off the advances of homosexuals while he tried to get drunk and consort with, you know, loose women. I'll say respectively. Um, and then my other grandfather was in Europe during World War II, but he was doing, as far as I understand, very little of consequence. He did bring back. He's got a Nazi dagger that he somehow acquired, which I now possess, and it's got like the guy's serial number and everything on it. And what I always look at it and I think of, because obviously I understand the military life and like what it's like. I always try to think of like who is the person who had this knife, like what was their fucking story. I wonder if I looked up this, like I wonder if there's a way to trace it with the serial number. What is this? Kevin Spacey allegedly I and tugged it next to a young man during the. Kevin Spacey is accused of pulling it out and tugging it in many places, and yet he is continuously exonerated. So I am always on Team Spacey. Has that guy been convicted of anything? I feel like he keeps getting off. I mean, poor choice of words, but you know what I mean. Spacey's great. American Beauty, come on. I will not hear a bad word about Kevin Spacey. Nighttime Conqueror, too much of a pussy to go to Afghanistan. One of my big regrets from my active duty time is not getting to Afghanistan. Iraq was a fascinating experience, but I would love to have seen Afghanistan. It just the mountains, the forests, the fucking culture and shit. Very dangerous place though, a different kind of dangerous from Iraq. They do not fuck around over there in Afghanistan. Um, anyway, it is summer in New York City, ass eating season, as it were. And New York is off to its typical shenanigans. This is around the time of year that things really start getting fucking froggy in New York. The shootings go up, and the vagrants get fucking crazy because now it's hot as fuck out. So in addition to needing to get their fix, the area is flooded with tourists. It's hot. There's piss all over the sidewalks, piles of garbage. It's steaming and stinking. Everyone's a little bit agitated. It's terrible. because again, New York City is a terrible place. This is something that I don't think a lot of people understand. It calls itself the greatest city in the world. It's not. New York City is a horrible, horrible place, as evidenced by headlines like this from New York Post. Maniac who set New York City's strap hanger on fire was behind earlier similar incident, according to the police. So this gentleman in New York City, you have a guy who is known. He tried to torch a group of commuters at a Manhattan subway station earlier this year, and most recently on a Sunday afternoon. Was it a Sunday? Oh, it was a Saturday attack. So Saturday, you figure, what do you do on a Saturday afternoon in New York City? Maybe you're going out for a drink, you're going to meet a fucking bumble date at a museum or some such fucker. He's going to practice with his improv group, whatever. And this 23-year-old is at the Varick Street station. Not a bad area of the city. Varick Street is it's downtown, a lot of business, a lot of restaurants. It should be a reasonably safe spot in Manhattan. Of course, we know there are no safe spots in Manhattan. Oh, that's where they caught the suspect. Where did it happen? Sorry, this is what happens when you live stream a little bit high. West House and Varick. Oh, yes, they got him right at the spot. 2:45. This guy's with his fiance. They're getting off of one train at West Houston Street and Varick. I know exactly where that is. They were headed to the Statue of Liberty. Imagine that. Just gonna go out for a nice day with your girl. Go to the Statue of Liberty. Maybe a stop at Ellis Island. Learn about the immigrants who came here legally. America. Go to the Statue of Liberty, climb up, look out. You can look out the crown. It's stupid. I've been there once. I have no desire to ever go back up. It's fucking, what are you gonna die? It's it's very touristy. I wouldn't do it. Maybe does this guy deserve to get burned by a vagrant because he, a New York City resident, was going to spend a Saturday going all the way out to fucking Liberty Island to climb up the Statue of Liberty? Some might argue that. I'm not making that contention, but I'm saying that it's in the air. He protected his fiance with his body. What a guy. He ended up ripping off his burning shirt while the assailant fled the scene. 30% of his body was burnt. Can you fucking imagine that? Wherever you live, I want you to think of whatever the stupid attraction is wherever you live, the world's biggest bale of hay or whatever the fuck. The Liberty Bell. Actually, at Philadelphia, you wouldn't be shocked if you got torched walking through Philly. But just imagine you're going out. Your fiance's been busting your fucking balls all week. She wants to go see whatever the stupid local thing of interest is. And before you even get there, you're like, all right, we'll do this, go out, get a little dinner, a couple drinks, go home, and you'll get your dick sucked while you eat her asshole, and it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. And on your way there, the outing is ruined because a guy decides to torch 30% of your body. And not only that, but this guy who did this is out on the streets. He had previously attempted to set a bunch of people on fire, people who are using the same mode of transportation that you're using. He is allowed to freely and ably access this place where many people will be traveling in and out and up and down. It's just, if you've ever ridden the subway in New York City, it's just a constant stream of people. And on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in the spring. Uh, just fucking just like ants. If you've ever seen ants going towards a drop of honey on the ground, that is what it's like. People going to through the subway in New York City, and this guy is just allowed to hang out there, setting them on fire. Literally, he's done it before. We know this guy has a thing where he really likes to set people on fire, and he's got a place where he likes to do it, and nothing is being done to prevent him from doing this. You gotta fucking love it. This poor son of it, and not nice of the New York Post, by the way. They put the victim's picture in the paper. He's shirtless and getting hosed down by a firefighter. The firefighter is using a little hose. It's like a little garden hose, not like the big hose. And he's hosing this guy down, and it's just this horrible shot where his love handles are, he's wearing jeans with a black belt. With his, it's light jeans with a black belt are a rough choice, and his love handles are spilling over the top of the belt, and they've just got a picture of him, because if he was wearing a shirt, he has sort of muscular arms. Like, it looks like he does some kind of working out. I would imagine a lot of kind of like, he goes in, he hits the machines on the beach muscles, does some very light cardio, and that's a wrap. But they got him completely shirtless here, and it's not. They didn't do him any favors. Poor guy. They have a picture of the guy who got arrested. The guy who got arrested does not seem to look like he gives a shit about being caught. He looks like he's thinking to himself, "Boy, good thing I do this in New York City. I'll be back out on the streets setting subway riders on fire in no time because it's New York City." Yeah. So things. Oh, of course. He's also been arrested for a theft of service and a criminal possession of a weapon. Yep. The system is working, folks. The system is working. Nighttime Conqueror. If I ever do New York City, I'm just hitting up everything from Home Alone 2. I mean, you would be done in 20 minutes. Most of it is in the exact same neighborhood. And the Fulton Fish Market, I don't know if that's functional anymore. But yeah, it would not take you long to do all of that. Duncan's Toy Chest. I don't even know if that's a real place. There is a big toy store in the city. I don't know if I think FAO Schwartz is still there. I think that's what it was based on. I think. Anyway, you're gonna eat your way through the Joey Rose's menu. Look, I'm gonna be honest. The man makes a fine sandwich. I've had Joey Rose's sandwiches before, and I can say that they are a delight. I haven't been in a while. I don't know if he's still doing the in-house bread, but the bread was fantastic. Very light, fluffy. Very good sandwich at Joey Rose's. Street vendor dog. Can't go wrong. Love a good dirty water dog. Buy more than one. Do one with kraut, do the other with onions. That's what I say. You're also going to want to try, they have like these falafel and chicken with rice stands where you get, it's Middle Eastern. You get either chicken or lamb over yellow rice. The rice is very good, very moist. It's got some onions and stuff in it. And then they do the chicken over it. and you get it with either white, red, or barbecue sauce. I would suggest, if you're really not worried about just shitting your fucking brains out, and it won't make you sick, you're just going to have to take a big ass shit. I would suggest get one with the barbecue and then one with the red and white mixed. It's incredible. It's fucking delicious. You can't eat it regularly. You turn into a fat, disgusting fuck. But very tasty. And the thing about turning into a fat, disgusting fuck is that if you do that, people may not want to have a threesome with you. And it has been declared the summer of the threesome. Challengers. I guess there's this movie out now, this tennis movie, a menage a trois movie, Challengers. I think Zendaya is in it. Zendaya has a three-way with Josh O'Connor and Mike Feist, a trio of tennis players, and I guess the most iconic and erotic scene shows Zendaya sharing a three-way kiss with the two on the edge of a bed. Now, does she get double teamed by them, or do they just do a little three-way making out? It's a meme all over the place. And there's these guys are, if you haven't seen it, I can pull this one up, I think. Can I pull that up? Pull it up. Up. Here she is. These are the kind of guys that are like in vogue these days now. It's like these very twinkish looking guys. That's what's like the popular look. Alexander Ponce, not a fucking Zendaya fan. I like little Zendaya. I mean, obviously, she is greatly overshadowed by Sydney Sweeney, who has, I think, the tits of her generation. But this is, this is a screenshot. Cowster says this is a train, not a threesome. Where do you draw the line at train and threesome? It's two guys, one chick. I don't know if two guys can really run a train. I think you need three for it to be a train. I have to disagree with that one, Cowster. But to each their own. But as a result of this movie, they are calling it the summer of the threesome. I guess influencers are talking about this. Indeed, the Post writes, with the weather already heating up in New York, many brazen Big Apple dwellers are getting a jump start on their dreams of a threesome-fueled summer, swiping sex apps in search of lusty, like-minded locals. Emily Kelly, I'm assuming that is not her real name, given the asterisks next to it, says, I'm new to threesomes. My first one was about a month and a half ago. She's seen Challengers twice in theaters. That's fucking wild. That's actually more interesting than the fact that she's had a threesome, is that she went and saw this movie twice in theaters. She describes it as one of her favorite movies of the year. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I'm going to be honest, Emily looks like she's a chick who's going to wind up getting double teamed by a lot of people because she's in search of a personality. Like, that's what it really feels like with Emily. She says she arranged her first menage a trois through Field, a dating app for people interested in ethical non-monogamy, polyamory, casual sex, swinging, and other alternative relationship models and sexual preferences. I had a friend who used to use Field a lot. He's sadly no longer with us. He was a funny motherfucker, and he he was telling me a story about one time hooking up with a chick in the city, and he went to put his shoe on back on afterwards, and roaches came running out of it. So I don't know how glamorous Field is. I think when you dabble in the orgy community, you do always run the risk of coming across fatties and uggos. But I'm sure there are some hot chicks on there. But I would be very, very surprised if the ratio is not heavily in the other direction. Um, Field says the search for threesomes has surged 119% in the past 2 years, and they praised challengers for making the sexual scenario mainstream. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess people like to fuck. I feel like the people in New York City who will be doing the most of this. It's a very I feel like I feel like threesomes are a very Brooklyn ugly people thing. A New York City threesomes are a Brooklyn ugly people thing. There are a lot of very ugly people in New York City, and obviously, a city with as many people as New York will have some very very attractive women and good looking people, and a lot of chads running around. But I think for the most part, New York City veers more towards ugly because New York is an ugly. It's ugly in many ways, just in general. Like again, we're about to spend an entire season with piss on the ground, right? You know, it's it's hard to get attractive people to stick around in a toilet, a literal toilet. And I think that the people who are most into ethical non-monogamy are very it's very Brooklyn ugly. Um, I know women who have met guys on regular apps and gone on dates, and the guys have brought up ethical non-monogamy, where they have said, I think a lot of it is really, a lot of it's really just cuck stuff. I think a lot of it is it's it's cuck stuff and couples where or maybe if it's a FFM, uh the chick wants to eat some pussy, uh out, but she values her marriage. She's just like, all right, this is just the easy way to do it. I would think that's the most of it. I think it's a lot of cuck stuff because I know, as I was saying, women who have gone on dating apps with guys, and the guys have brought it up, and they're like, yeah, after we've been dating for a while, I would like you to go out and date outside of the relationship. And it's like, there's just something weird about wanting your chick to go out and spend her time with and get fucked by other dudes. That is something that fetish will never make sense to me. I really do not understand that. Um I don't, you know, what is the you sit at home fucking, like, at least the the idea of, like, the cuck who jerks off in the corner and helps clean up afterwards, like, that guy is probably, he's more like the chick who invites another woman into the bedroom. He just wanted a dude around. Like, I feel like that's more about him. The sending your wife out so she can just get fucked six ways from Sunday by the barista at the local fucking mom and pop coffee shop. That's a little more. That's very bizarre to me. Any cucks out in the comments section, weigh in. Patrick Bateman getting Having some legit FFM three ways. Good for you, Bateman. Congrats. Congrats on the sex. But again, my big issue with it, and I realized this is that was hiding me completely, is really, I feel like, again, like I said at the top of the story here, most of the people doing this are doing it to replace their personalities. Like they're not even this wave of people who are inspired to do this. It's like if you were dating a chick or you were married back when 50 Shades of Grey came out, and all of a sudden she goes from zero to fucking dominatrix, and she wants all sorts of like tying up and fucking spanking. Like I feel like it would come off as so forced and hack, and like I don't know. I don't buy it. I'm not buying any of this shit. Uh everyone's fucking polyamorous or fucking jumping on the the fucking LGBTQIAA plus fucking, they have asexual in there now. I feel like everybody is just making shit up to seem interesting. We've given up on personalities. It's just memes and pretending you're a different gender now. They're interviewing this Kelly again. Oh no, this guy. Oh, so she says she's very much about straight men being just as open and fluid with their sexuality as everyone else, because she wants to see more straight men sexual tension in cinema. No one wants to see that, by the way. No one wants. They did one. It was Brokeback Mountain, and for some reason, a bunch of people went and fucking saw it. And I truly don't think anyone really wants that. I don't know. I don't think anyone, it's just because it's not even a homophobic thing. It's just kind of like, dudes are kind of off-putting and annoying. Like no one needs more than one fucking dude around. Like some guy, he's in the three-way holding in a fucking fart. Like he's got a hairy belly. Like no one wants that around. Like it's just off. It's not pleasing to anyone. Maybe to this guy Will Blake, which I believe is another made-up name. He told the Post he's hoping to have a devil's threesome, which was alluded to earlier in the comments section. He is straight and has already been to bed with two women at the same time. I don't believe that. I think he's lying. Now, in light of challengers, the lawyer wants to expand his sexual horizons and join a man and a woman for some frisky fun. When asked if he was worried about any stigma surrounding a threesome with another man, he told the Post, "Who cares? It's New York. Anything goes. It gets slutty in the summer," he said of the city's sexual energy, saying, "Horny, hedonistic locals buck convention and defy labels when the weather gets warm." He says, "I think men are finally getting to a point where fragile masculinity is deteriorating," Kelly said, saying she hopes to find two men open to having a threesome with her. Kelly just wants to get riddled with cock. This other guy, I really think the other guy up here who's saying he wants to have a devil's threesome, he's hoping that they slip out and touch. Like that's what this guy is hoping for. He says, Kelly is obsessed with getting two dudes together. She says, "I really do hope that people will be more accepting of it because they deserve to experiment and try things without labels, just like women are a lot of the time. Girls kiss their friends and people will think nothing of it. She thinks men should be able to do the same." Uh, she thinks a threesome with two men is something a lot of women would love to try. Yeah, maybe it's not. I don't think it's a thing that a lot of dudes would like to try. I think if you make it through like your frat house years without double teaming a chick with one of your buddies, because at that age, if you do, I never did that. I know a handful of guys who did. Um, it was like as I understand it, for the most part, a fucking goof when they were drunk, and it was more about just seeing if they could get the chick to agree to some fucking hoish behavior. Um, I don't think that there aren't. I'll put it this way: there aren't a lot of guys out there, a lot of like regular hetero dudes out there who are like, how I would like to spend my Saturday, fucking ramming my girlfriend from behind while she chokes on my fucking buddy's ball sack. Like, no one, I really don't think a lot of people want that other than ugly Brooklyn people. And I think there are just so many, Brooklyn is a receptacle for, you know, it's guys with no chest development wearing scoop neck t-shirts, and they have tattoo sleeves and ear gauges, and it's just a bunch of ugly people paying too much for apartments and having sex with each other. So I do think there's a degree to which maybe out in Brooklyn the number of people who are trying to do devil's three ways is higher, but I don't see that as being the driving factor, like a big decision maker for a lot of Americans. I don't think I'm speaking English right now. I got to admit I'm a little high. Kenny over here gave me some dynamite pills. The point is, I think if you're looking for a three-way in New York City this summer, you might find one with someone, but it will probably be with two people who you're just absolutely disgusted by. Which that is part of app hookup culture too. I will say that part of part of hooking up with someone from an app. If you've ever had casual sex with a woman from a dating app, there's a good chance your one night stand was not the most attractive thing in the world. It happens. Sometimes it's just a fun way to spend lockdown. Um, yeah. Unrelated puns. I carried an M4 and a Beretta 9 millimeter. I was a platoon commander when I went to Iraq, so that was the TO weapon for me. We had trucks that we were out in every day. They were mounted with machine guns, and then at the platoon level, you got everyone in every fire team has a saw gunner, um, so you can provide a base of fire for squad and platoon maneuver. Yes, Monday morning mowing with Mike. There are a lot of risks inherent to the Devils three way. Again, I don't unless you're at a sex party. That would be the kind of situation if you're in a room where fucking 20 people are just going at it, then I kind of understand it a little more, like, but that's a true orgy. Um but arranging to have some guy come over so that your chick can fucking suck his hog while you fucking ram her from behind is yeah, that's not for me. Um but to each their own. Speaking of weird sex stuff, things not going well for Rex Huerman. You remember the Gilgo Beach story that we had got started getting into, and I apologize for the blinking light in the background. I get these fucking bootleg ass color changing bulbs. They're supposed to change when you hit them with the remote, but as they enter their final days, they start just kind of flickering through the colors on their own. It looks kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of fun. We got kind of a Miami vibe going here. Rex Huerman, they found his planning documents, his alleged planning documents, and oh boy. And he's also been charged in 2 more murders. But he's got, they found computer notes. He kept meticulous notes on his kills, including reminders for future murders like hit harder and to get more sleep so he can have more playtime. He's if you've forgotten, he was accused of killing multiple women and leaving their remains along Ocean Parkway in Long Island, particularly around Gilgo Beach. And apparently they found what amounts to a blueprint for his crimes. And we always talk about, whenever there is a murder, we always talk about how if you're going to do a murder in this day and age, you have to go to just the ends of the fucking earth to avoid detection. So initially, the evidence that the prosecution was relying on was that he was in the same location as the burner phones that were used to contact some of the victims and apparently taunt their families. And they had some DNA evidence, which again, you can't play it fast and loose with the phone like that. Although I guess that's probably part of his kink. But even that, like, you know, if you're going to do that, then you have to, travel with the burner phone off, make the call, you have to be more meticulous. Like, you can't, like we talked about earlier in the show, the assault on Normandy, or the, Okinawa, with the Marines or the soldiers going just inch by inch. The fucking government doesn't run out of time or money. If they are investigating fucking multiple murders and bodies keep popping up and getting covered, and it's out like on the beach and in the suburbs, like, they are going to do everything to fucking get your ass. So I guess they got it when they searched his basement. It was on a hard drive, and you just can't keep shit, man. You cannot keep shit. They're calling it meticulous planning. His intent was nothing short but to murder these victims, the Suffolk County DA says. And he's got it. He had it so set up that he has like pre-event like checklists. He's got post-event checklists of what to do after it. And then he did after actions where he was taking notes and going over what went right, what went wrong, as we say in the military. So they have it. Can I get this? I gotta get this fucking bigger. He's got this one that's titled Body Prep. Wash body inside and all cavities. Remove trace evidence, fingerprints, hair. Remove trace DNA. Remove ID marks, tattoos, marks. Remove marks from torture. Remove head and hands. Package for transport. That is some ice cold shit. You think about these women who were getting called by this guy. They were sex workers, which, they don't deserve to be fucking murdered. They were just trying to make a fucking living and live their lives. And while they're, you're eating lunch with your family or hanging out with your roommates, and this guy is sitting at his computer putting together his list about how he's going to murder you while you're having your text conversations with him. It's fucking insane. Dispose of the following: tools and devices, clothes and personal items, drop clothes, wipes and towels, props, toys, wood items, anything that victim touched, what you wore, destroy book and computer files, burn gloves, dispose of box of plastic bags to avoid trace. So he's thought it so far down to throwing out the box of plastic bags that he used because he knows that there could be some sort of identifying serial number or whatever on there where the cops might go back and say, well, where was this sold? Where was it purchased? When? Let's run the surveillance cameras coming out of that grocery store who shops there. Incredible. Things to remember: sound travels. Control the amount of air in and out to control the noise made. Get sleep before hunt. Being too tired creates problems. Hit harder. Too many hit to take down. Consider a hit to the face or neck next time to take down. More sleep and noise control equals more playtime. That's fucking chilling. Use push pins to hang drop cloths from ceiling, not tape. Use heavy rope for neck. Light rope broke under stress of being tightened. Take down pickup. Don't take too long. Don't be seen in the area for too long. Don't charge gas. So he's thinking about not using a credit card when he fills up with gas. Recon for video cameras in pickup area next time. And I mean, there's just so much of this. He's got, if you look at his schedule, it says when his wife is going to be away. Notes: the more you do, the more clues you give. I'm trying. This thing is very, very small. That's why I'm squinting in at it. Foam drain cleaner, because he's gonna obviously got to chop up the body in over some sort of drain. Medical gloves. Cargo strap. He's reconning dumpster sites. He refers to them as T, and then he has like a description. So he has one that says like T black. And it's a black chick. Yeah, absolutely fucking chilling to read this. But I mean, this is what a person who is obsessed with this kind of thing would do. Yeah. Oh, here's a bigger version of what I was just trying to. Yeah, T1, Megan. Small is good. He has that listed under targets. It says small is good. Because he's a big guy. He wants to pick a smaller victim so he can manhandle her easier. He's got drop sites listed, a saw and cutting tools. I mean, there is something so fucking inhuman about this that he could be talking to someone, texting, calling them on the phone, communicating with them, while going about these banal, just mundane, sitting there typing out a spreadsheet, planning their fucking demise. This is absolutely insane. It's really incredible, how like the same people, if you think of like the ultimate good that people can do, like people who run into burning buildings to save puppies and the elderly, and then you could have this complete opposite end of that spectrum, where this guy is married, he has a family. Not only is he betraying their trust and his wife's trust while she goes out of town, he is taking calculated steps to take advantage of these women, these are back page sex workers. None of them appear to be living glamorous lives. He's taking calculated steps to brutally murder these women, and again, they clearly, for the most part, I imagine, don't come from the best, families who are in the best situation. To murder them and cover it up so that their families cannot even get closure after the fact. That is so chillingly fascinating. Uh, that we live in a world where that mentality exists, where the evolution that created the human brain and all of the different things that it does, that is one of the natural consequences of that. Like, human beings are natural problem solvers. That's how we've gotten to where we are. We love to solve problems. And what this guy was doing with his free time was solving the problem of, how do I kill these hookers while my wife is on vacation and get away with it? Incredible stuff. Anyway, I have to wrap things up. I thank you all for joining me this evening. I apologize. I was a little bit ripped when I got on, so stumbled through the first portion of the show. But I think we wrapped up nicely when we got to that serial killer stuff, don't you? I will likely be pre-recorded next week, and then it'll, like I said, it's going to be a few weeks to sort of touch and go from there, just because I got the move, I got to get set up in the new apartment, I got to get furniture, all that shit. But great to see you folks in the comment section. Remember, Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. The Savage Sacktap is the podcast. Sacktap Live is the live stream. Tell people to find it at Mike's Golden Streams on YouTube. And if you'd be so kind as to go ahead, screenshot it, share it to your stories or what have you, I would be highly appreciated. Have a great weekend, folks. I will catch y'all next time. Adios, motherfuckers, as they say.